back, spawn of Satan.
Oh, really? What is up, ghouls, goblins, seductresses, succubi, all of you beautiful creatures of the night? It is officially Halloween weekend. And I was so happy to see all of the great children of Plattsmouth getting their candy, showing out in epic fashion here in downtown Plattsmouth, where I lives. And it was just a great sight to behold. Just honoring all the great spirits out there that have come and gone. And it's just so wonderful to see everyone so happy and having fun. It was truly October weather today, especially here. I don't know about Texas. Texas has been getting its ass handed to it. I don't know, Mortimer. Is it cold enough there for you?
Hot and dusty.
Hot and dusty. Just the fucking way we like it. But we are here tonight to discuss the top 10 best, and I say that very loosely because we have so many other ones to talk to you about as well. All vampire lovers. We are calling all vampire lovers. We are here to talk about this particular genre of horror in epic fashion. There is so much to cover. You know, when we think about Universal Monsters, and we think about how it's just captivated audiences since the black and white days.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing like it in the world. Dracula, this uber fucking like classy guy that wears a cape and just has this stare. I mean, this goes back to Nosferatu in the early 20s or 30s. I'm sorry. No, it was the 20s. It was the 20s. To see Count Orlok peering through the darkness and just putting the fucking quiver in the river. You know what I mean? So
very much.
There is no one as a horror lover in the horror genre that does not love a good vampire film. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And before we get into this juicy, blood dripping fiesta that we're going to be getting into, let us take a quick commercial break to our brothers over in the UK at Poison Valley Scareware. Check that shit out. That's right. If you want to get yourself a high-quality, original piece of art drawn by David, the awesome, awesome guy that he is, get over to poisonvalleyscareware.com and get yourself an original piece of horror art on T-shirts, hoodies, you name it, David's got it. So check him out. What's up, Lizzie? And what's up, Dustin? Dustin says, Cap vampires scary, not sexy. I think he means keep. And as a matter of fact, he did
sometimes
recant.
sexy can be scary.
Exactly right.
Or scary sexy.
Yeah, you know.
That kind of girl.
And thank you guys for tuning in tonight on a Friday night. I know there's so many Halloween parties going on all fucking weekend long, but damn it, share this out. Everywhere and anywhere that there is a horror lover, wake them up. Tell them to put the bong down. Maybe continue with, a glass of the fine stuff. And let's talk vampires, man. This is one genre that started my love affair as far as horror goes. I know that, the original Halloween was the film that my mom showed me that got me into horror. But damn it, the first time I saw Sir Christopher Lee as Dracula on Saturday mornings after my cartoons, I wanted to be him. I don't think there was anybody back then that didn't. He was not a seductive guy. He was not, oh, I love you. He was like, do the fuck what I say when I say it. You're going to do that shit, and I'm going to feed off you, and you're going to do my bidding.
I agree.
Vampires are not supposed to be sexy. And let me tell you right now, we are not talking about fucking Twilight. We're not even going to bring that shit up because that was by far the worst, in my opinion, as far as vampires go. Hairball, a little bit of dust, a little a bone.
Yeah, not the greatest fan of those films.
Or was it a rat?
Or was it a border collie the size of a Buick?
Right. Hey, Rebecca, Cody, glad to see y'all. Yes, I have come out of my crypt yet again because I have been unholy reborn. Yes. Honestly, I do apologize for the fact that we didn't start at 8 this evening. I had a photo shoot that ran a little too long, and I cannot wait to unveil these new creations. And it's been a year since I've done a horror photo shoot as Reaper, the Lord of Darkness. So I cannot wait to show you guys these, but they have to get edited, so I can't just throw them out there. But nonetheless, vampires, man. When was the first time, Mortimer, that you came across your first vampire and you fell in love with it?
Mine would have to be Bela Lugosi.
Ah,
yeah, my
something
dad.
About that man's accent and swagger, that's for sure.
My dad was quite a fan of Bela, and
Bella's a legend.
It was the piercing eyes. It's the most famous vampire that didn't have contacts in. He didn't have fangs.
Nope.
He never had fangs, not once. But
which
every
is so weird.
Back then that watched it, so I've been told.
Yep.
Saw that he had fangs, even though he never did. That is a performance.
Yes, it is. Although,
and it's lasted throughout the years.
It has, and it always will. Being that he was a man of the Balkans, I mean, he truly fit
very much
the story and the setting of the story of Dracula.
Very much so.
Yeah. But
Christopher Lee, I agree with you. That's Bela Lugosi dipped in kerosene.
He's my guy. I can't.
Oh, Christopher Lee's amazing. He was an amazing man, let alone an actor.
Shit, Hammer horror.
Yeah, that's what. No, well, him and Peter Cushing created it.
Yes,
yeah, with help from others, but very much so. They're two battling as Dracula and Helsing.
It was the most epic grudge match ever in history. You can't. It was literally you can't have one without the other.
Very much
it's kind of like Frankenstein and Victor Frankenstein. You can't have Frankenstein and not Victor.
Right. if not, the story falls to pieces.
Exactly. There's Frankie right there. So yeah, just a wealth of
Oh
rich
yeah.
cinematic history.
Dracula is one of the number one characters to ever be put to screen. He's been
Yes.
adapted more times than almost any character in all of fantasy fiction.
Yeah. And there's a reason because, well, number one, it's based off of one of the greatest warlords in fucking history.
Vlad Tepes.
That's right.
Yep, very much so.
And the legend of the fact that he was seen walking at night,
After his death.
After his death, yeah. And the priest that conspired to have him put down died the very night that he was buried in that tomb. So,
And sucked dry like a juice box.
pretty fucking interesting. And even in the 30s, when they opened up, Vlad's supposed place of burial, there was only animal bones, no human remains. So it's a fucking mystery. But anyhow, you're so funny. Dustin says, longest running TV vampire, Count Von Count, aka the Count on Sesame Street. That's right. I mean, he was a cultural fucking icon.
1, two,
Let's not forget
much so.
Count Chocula.
Yeah. Yeah. Count
That's
Duckula.
still my favorite fucking cereal to this day.
Right.
That's right. Reaper don't eat no Wheaties. It's Count Chocula. But exactly. One. Oh yeah, Lizzie brings up another good point. Count Duckula. I mean, literally fucking Dracula has been put into, or a vampire, if you will, into literally everything in pop culture. Batman versus Dracula.
Yep.
Did anyone miss that epic fucking cartoon thing?
Yeah.
That was the absolute shit.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I loved it.
Yeah, they did great.
Yeah, really, really good job. And that's the thing that I think separates real vampire lovers from those that are just into the romance part of vampires. Because let's think about it. These things feed on blood. Okay. They're going to bite you anywhere. Doesn't matter if it's the neck. Doesn't matter if it's on your titty. I mean, wherever they can bite you and suck that shit out, they're going to do it. Although it is kind of hot when they go to bite you in the thigh because, let's face it, that's orgasmic, right? And I think there is a sexiness about it. A beautiful woman covered in blood, or, a good-looking guy covered in blood, and there's emotion.
Primal.
It is.
I think it's the primal thing.
I really feel that. Yes, absolutely. It's very primal. It's very intimate. It's not like any other creature in cinema history as far as vampires.
Very much so. No, I agree. It covers romance. It covers the macabre, carnality with the blood and the sexuality that comes into it. A lot of vampire stories, you don't get that in almost any other monster legend lore like that I can.
You're definitely not gonna get Frankie from Frankenstein showing off his stitched together body going, hey baby. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, would you like to see this? Wait a minute. This one doesn't match this. Yeah. I mean, he's not going to do that. He's not going to be a fucking Chippendale. We'll leave that to CJ Graham.
There you go.
Oh, we have a whole host of, Oh, okay. Yep. Absolutely. We got a lot of comments so far, which is awesome. Dustin said, I figured Reaper enjoyed life cereal. He likes it. No, I hated it. I don't care how much sugar you put on that shit. And then he goes on to say, the Monk, underrated Batman vampire villain. Yes, Totally. I agree with that as well. Let's see here. Rebecca says, much love, but I'm real cuckoo bananas tonight, and I tend to say weird shit, and it's not Saturday, but more on the serious side program tonight, and I'm all woo. So yeah, much love, y'all. Girl, we love and appreciate you. I don't care if you're wackadoo or not. You have tuned in tonight for myself, the Lord of Darkness, and of course, Mortimer, Deadfellow, the Mortician. And that's all we care about. I don't care if there's 10 people watching. I don't care if there's 20. I don't care if there's 5. You know what I'm saying? All I care about is we come together and we are talking about a beloved topic, that is horror. It brings us all together. It's like heavy metal and horror brings us all together. We are the new age gothic hippies that we are.
There you go.
That's what I call it.
I'm from the Victorian times, and I've never stopped going.
And I mean, I've been underground for since the beginning of time. I'm just trying to keep up with the times.
Reflection.
A devil's got to, look sharp. Something a little different. Exactly. Well, fucking A, let's get right down to it, man. What is your first epic pick from this genre?
First epic pick will be one that I don't believe a lot of the addicts have seen or even heard.
That's possible.
It is a film from 1995 called Blood and Donuts.
Such a great period for vampire films, actually. Is this it? Let me see. Nope, sorry, wrong one. Damn it. I know I have it. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's you have it. The main focus is a diner and like a coffee shop and a waitress. Yes, there it is. And you have a very old vampire that wakes up after a long, long slumber and kind of falls for her as a protector, not as dinner. That's what it got me. It's a love story. And you don't really get that. I mean, you get the like we were just talking about, you get the romantic aspects to it most of the time.
Dustin, he says, I have not, but has the words donuts, so I'm open to it.
I think you'll enjoy it because it's one of those films that's not what you expect it to be. When you first go into it, it's like, is this going to be a comedy? Is it? And it's not. And the brutality parts are pretty brutal for the type of film you wouldn't expect.
Exactly. It's not some, when you're bringing it into real life, this is a real life situation. Nobody obviously knows that there's an existence of such a creature. And it shows up in your diner one day, Exactly. And I really after you had told me that was one of your picks, I said to myself, oh, so now I see where True Blood got their fucking idea.
Pretty much.
It's the same fucking thing.
Pretty much. Yeah.
When you think of it.
Well, that's the thing, though, too, because it was a film that kind of slid under a lot of people's radar.
Yes. Well, it wasn't widely promoted.
Exactly. It was more, it came off more like an art film, like an art house kind of film. But it's a higher level than that. It was done a higher, when I'm not saying that's a bad level either, but you know what I mean?
Right.
It was done as a full-length film, but exactly, it didn't have the marketing train behind it and all this other stuff. But to me, it's Romeo and Juliet with vampires.
Aw. Lizzie says, ew, unfortunately, it is not available for streaming, at least according to Just Watch. Well, I'll tell you what, if there is a way to find it, all you got to do is search the net, and I'm sure you'll be able to grab a copy of it. Or Amazon might have it for rent.
True, just true. But yes, no, but it's like with the people that are in it too. It was like you cast the people that were right for the role,
right?
Not because of who they were or anything like that. It was
No.
they were right for the character, and I like that because it's like with the director that's going to trust his actors. You know, it's like they know the script, they know the characters. Now let's see it, and you feel that they feel like they live in that space.
Yes,
they're real people.
Well, I mean, it gives you more of, I guess, the human side of vampirism.
No, I agree.
As a concept, you know, it almost kind of gives you the feeling like, well, maybe there are, you know,
right.
It's possible. Like,
yeah,
it's possible.
Exactly. No, I agree with that. Yeah,
because I mean, when you can't die and you just keep going on as long as you don't hit daylight, or you know, vampires. Right. I mean, if Interview with a Vampire didn't teach us anything from the great Anne Rice, it's that they have to go with the times. They're not going to walk around as Dennis Miller said, or not Dennis Miller. I'm so sorry. Oh, fucking hell. It was John from John Carpenter's Vampires. The main actor said, you know, they're not walking around in rented formal wear. So they have to change, and you're not going to notice them. I mean, sure, they're going to be extra fucking pale, and maybe you think they came from the ice region, you know, where sun never dwanes to shine, and you wouldn't know unless something happened. And there's a lot of art pictures that were like this that show vampirism, and I think it was actually done in a very cool way. So you know, that's the other thing. It's like
also, you had a big multiple times you've had cultural influx of vampires, because even when you go into my time, we had Varney the Vampire for Penny Dreadfuls. We had the Highgate Vampire,
or What We Do in the Shadows. Right.
Yeah. Quite a fan of those three.
Yes, absolutely.
They're an enjoyable bunch. I've known them for centuries.
No, it wasn't Dennis Miller. Originally, that was my go-to because of Bordello of Blood.
Yes.
It's my goodness, James Woods. Yay! Look at me go. It actually came out of my brain.
When I was putting the boots to you, Padre, do you like that? Did you get a little mahogany there?
Yeah. A little wood. Did you like it when I was kicking your ass back there? I love that film so much.
Yes,
Thomas, and it is an honorable mention.
Very much so, as Bollock. Speaking of fighting a hot woman on the fly. Yeah, I'm just in the corner of your room, girl, just stuck on the ceiling, waiting for you to come in, and snack time.
You know, where else am I going to hide? Under your bed? That's not very not very vampiric.
Like, you know how tall I am? This is silk. Do you understand? It's like, I'm not crawling under your bed, lady. I'm going to be up on the ceiling like a boss.
That's right. And he never decided to come out of his ceremonial garb.
Nope.
But it worked.
Oh, yeah.
Because what I loved about that film was the fact that they didn't sleep in coffins. They were in the fucking ground. Yeah. How more primal is that? Well, we'll talk more about that afterwards. But just absolutely great choice.
John Carpenter.
Yeah. Oh man, how can you go wrong? Until they made the sequel. But anyway, we won't talk about them. Exactly. Dustin says Shadow of the Vampire has some of the best writing about being a vampire and about the issue of memory during the campfire scene. Most definitely. I loved Shadow of the Vampire. It's a great film.
Willem Dafoe.
Great film. Apparently, Cody says he belongs in the ice region.
Well, he
feeling
does
his
look like a
Icelandic
Viking.
roots. Nothing wrong with that. I
Not at all.
could deal with nice winters, but I have to have fall weather the whole rest of the time, which I understand that's Alaska in general.
See, with
Or
my
New
dead
England.
self, I have to watch out for frostbite.
Right?
Yeah.
Rebecca says, makes me think of that one episode of Buffy. Absolutely. She says, I think it was just before her mom died. Yeah. Yep. I know which episode you're talking about because I'm currently going back through the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So, yeah.
Which also has to be talked about in the discussion of vampires.
Oh, absolutely.
Another cultural induction from the film and the show.
Yep.
They both did it.
That film, shit, we'll talk about it. But yeah, we'll definitely get to that. We'll get to that.
We need yours.
My first offering has to be the one that's really started it all. And that was a little silent film by some brilliant German engineers. Nosferatu.
Oh.
Now, take a look at this guy. We're talking about the early 20s, and this was before. I mean, they were still using stage makeup at that time.
Yeah, he did his own makeup.
Yeah.
Nobody saw him apply his own makeup ever.
No. And how did he discombobulate his fucking skull?
I cannot answer that.
No one can answer that.
Yeah, no, that is one of the hidden mysteries in
film. Yes.
Yeah, in all of film is him and how he became Count Orlok the way that he did. But nobody helping him.
He was in character at every moment of the day.
Yep.
Look at those ears.
Yep.
The fact that his eyes look like they're just completely white, and then this massive overbite with teeth that don't make sense. How could they have managed to bring that character to life? Which is why there was a film that had come out called
Shadow of the Vampire. Embrace of the Vampire.
Was it? No,
it is Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
Shadow of the Vampire.
With Willem Dafoe and
with Willem Dafoe. Yep, exactly. And I'm sorry, I don't think that's that far fetched. I'm just gonna say it. How do we know that was just a vampire that he found?
You see,
living in this desolate place, and he happened to find him.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's honestly, strangely enough, with what we know about that film, history-wise, that movie's plausible.
Seriously,
plausible. Yeah,
seriously,
very much so. Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says.
Acting on the level that it was on,
you don't know.
Yeah, they sold it to me.
Oh, shit, yeah, they sold it. How is it that hard to believe that he wasn't feasting on animals all that time? You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that, demons, if you will, devils, that believes that it is not far-fetched to think that such a legend doesn't have truth. I believe there's gotta be some.
There's always truth in any legend you'll ever hear.
I mean, let's look at it this way. In the ocean, we are now, with the technology that we have, are able to go deeper into the abyss.
Yep.
Further than anyone has ever explored in all of human history.
Yep.
And they're discovering species that have been there for millions of years?
Than the dinosaurs.
How is it far-fetched to think that if there was such a creature that could be living in that decrepit castle, and they were trying to get the rights to do it as Bram Stoker's Dracula? It was supposed to be but they couldn't get the rights. So Who's to say they actually the main and I forget his name, unfortunately, the director that was so headstrong, wanted to make this film, went all the way to Transylvania, the one place in Romania that,
if you're going to look for a vampire, that's where you go.
Exactly, because you get what else would you do?
That's true.
Go to where the legend was supposedly. I mean, they have rituals and holidays that they celebrate over there that are devoted to vampirism. You know, so I don't think it's that far fetched at all. I really don't. Oh no, Mortimer is frozen. Mortimer is frozen. Are you back?
I think I'm back.
Yep, I can hear you, but you're not moving in real time, but that's okay. Maybe it'll work itself out.
I'm here in spirit.
There we go. So, yes, the fact that this film had such darkness, such amazing practical effects.
Oh, yes.
To not discuss it as being one, I mean, in my opinion, if not one of the greatest of all time. If you could imagine what it would have been like if it wasn't just music and flashing the words. The fact that they were able to do it as a silent film, I think, is a testament to what you can do on a nothing fucking budget.
No, very much so. I agree with that, because it was the creativity of the writers and the directors and stuff, and the lighting. They didn't get to do the film that they had planned to do, so they had to create a film they could do.
Exactly.
And then ended up being better than another Dracula knockoff would have been.
Right, but there had never been one.
No, exactly. I agree. But that's the interesting thing, though. But in the mind, he is Nosferatu.
Yes.
He's Count Orlok, but he's Nosferatu. He will always be that, even though that's another name for a vampire. He's not Count Dracula.
Mm-mm.
He's his own thing.
His own entity.
Yeah, you will never usually ever see a vampire described as a Nosferatu that does not look like him.
Exactly right.
Somebody else that I'm sure will come up looks a lot like him.
Yeah. And we are about to get a new reincarnation of Nosferatu. And I definitely feel that this film is going to do way fucking better. And of course, Willem Dafoe is in it, which is fucking fantastic. But the gentleman that played in the craptastic version of The Crow, Bill Skarsgård, is playing Count Orlok, and he looks fantastic.
I do know that Doug Jones also has one coming too.
Oh shit!
And he's already filmed it, and I think it's releasing really soon. And he's Count Orlok.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're going to be dual ones.
It's like unholy.
Yeah, it's Nosferatu time. Get your blood bags and get a high iron diet, because
fuck yeah, it's time to get bloody. Peace. Damn it. Because even the later adaptation that was in the 70s was really, really good as well.
It was such an impactful look.
It is.
And with the lighting and the, just that looming death, like Buffy, I would say The Strangers.
Ah, yeah. Unholy fuck. The Strangers was one of the best fucking episodes ever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I loved it so much. But yes. And Dustin says, Nosferatu, the Golem, so many of the best monster films remain silent films. Yes. Even the very first film, the very first silent film that portrayed the devil from Dante's Inferno. If anyone's ever seen that piece of magnificence, I can't remember the name, and it's killing me, but it was so horrifying.
Oh yeah,
horrifying. The way that they were able to turn that actor with all these prosthetics, that how the hell did they come up with that shit back then? We don't know.
We really don't, because I know that modern makeup is
all everything. The hands. Fuck. Your next pick, sir.
I'm going to go a little funny because I have to, and this movie is near and dear to my heart. And I would have to pick Love at First Bite, 1979.
Ah. I'm pretty sure I have it. Love at First Bite?
Yes.
Oh, no, I grabbed the wrong one. That's what's wrong. My bad. I think I don't. Wait, no, I do. Nope, that's Last Man Alive. God damn it. I'm not sure how that one did not get in here, so let's go ahead and discuss it.
I will bring them up to speed.
Please.
You have basically Dracula getting kicked out of Transylvania because they want to have better tourism.
Right.
So he ends up moving to America and falls for a model that he has been looking at in her, he gets her magazine and fell in love with her through the magazine and wants to go find her and meet her. And it's a comedy, and it's George Hamilton as Dracula. You have Susan St. James as the love interest, and you have Artie Johnson as Renfield.
Yes.
Which started the 3 flies, 4 bloated beetles, which inspired somebody else's.
Sure fucking did.
Yes, very much so.
And it was brilliant.
One of the scenes that I have to mention is where the guy that is trying to stop Dracula and Dracula are having a look into my eyes.
Right.
And nothing's happening to the lady. She thinks they're being stupid and showing off and trying to act like they're big shots. And then the waiter walks up to him and instantly passes out because he got stuck in the gaze, and down he goes. No, you are getting drowsier and drowsier. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the epitome of shit.
The Euro trash Dracula.
Eurotrash Dracula, and the fact that they are world-class hypnotists.
And he had a tan. Because it's George Hamilton, so you kind of have to have the tan. But they powdered him up a little bit, but you can still
had
see.
To. Since fucking when did Dracula, or any vampire for that matter, have a fucking tan? It's not possible. They're dead. Their heart does not beat. Yeah.
When they tried to make sexy Dracula.
Dude, that was so badass, though.
Yeah. No, it was wicked. It was wicked, but I wanted Christopher Lee back bad.
The Renfield in that particular adaptation, I absolutely loved, because he was like, he was talking about spiders and the bugs, and he's like, they're so fat and juicy.
And making Dracula sick to his stomach.
Right.
And it's like, is that your breakfast? But that was part of the thing, too. You don't think about the daily life of a Count Dracula.
Right.
You don't think, what happens if Dracula wants a date? How does he go ask the girl out for a date if he actually cares about her? Yeah. He's got to get to know the girl.
For sure. And of course, they always bring it back to either Mina or they bring it back to Lucy. Sometimes Lucy's the one that goes down. Mina's the one that becomes the harem. And and sometimes vice versa. It just depends on how they fuck with the storyline.
Very much so, yeah.
But definitely, I mean, an iconic film. Definitely not one of my favorites, but I can definitely say it has earned its place. Because let's face it,
it is a childhood favorite.
Yes,
that's how it got me.
I mean,
And
it's
it led
fucking
me
George
into
Hamilton.
Blade. So
yeah, back in those days, shit. You know who else that I love that has donned the role is Udo Kier.
Yeah.
Udo, there was just something about him, and he's shown up in many, many different vampire scenarios, which we will obviously talk about. And Dustin says, insert Blackula joke. You know,
iconic.
People can say what they want, but it's iconic, and it was very well done.
Yep. And you wouldn't have Vampire in Brooklyn if it wasn't for Blackula.
One of the most underrated fucking Eddie Murphy films of all time.
I liked it. I thought it was funny.
I fucking loved it.
You want to go out for a eat? No, it's okay. I already had Italian.
Right.
You know, after he ate the mobster, and it's like, dude, that's great. That's funny. You know?
Yeah.
And
he
then
was
the guy
very much an anti-hero.
Yeah.
The prosthetics were the practical effects were fucking amazing. And then let's talk about his henchman driver who kept falling apart because he got turned into a ghoul. Dwayne Wayne from A Different World. He was perfect for the role.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I believe John
Witherspoon going down all kinds of great rabbit holes.
Was the landlord too.
Yep.
Look at you, man. You got the dropsies. I ain't got the dropsies, dude. You got parts of you falling off all over the place.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Great. Oh, so wonderful. I love it. I love it. So, I mean, we're still kind of stuck in that golden era. So, of course, everyone knows that the horror production company that is so near and dear to this devil's heart is by far the Hammer production films, because that was my childhood. It was Universal, it was the black and whites, and then the Hammer horror, which led me into all the other great 70s horror. And I feel like the 70s was the most daring time. But in 1958, after the great Sir Christopher Lee had donned the Dracula persona so many times, there was one film in particular that was one of the greatest epic battles between Van Helsing, known as Peter Cushing, and then, of course, himself, and that is The Horror of Dracula. It was a knockout, drag out fucking fiesta of badassery.
I can't disagree with one thing you said.
I mean, it was a trilogy. It was part of a trilogy because Dracula Has Risen from the Grave came after it, which is another good one. But that one, Christopher Lee barely had any speaking lines, and that's why I'm a little more partial to this one, because he did have more to say. Yeah. And he was an asshole.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, his Dracula, I would say, was one of the more cruel ones.
That's how it should have been.
Well, no, of course. I mean, because of his history, but exactly. I mean, that was kind of the thing with Christopher Lee, is Christopher Lee never did any role without doing his research.
Yeah.
So you were going to get as close to what he truly believed Dracula was, minus he didn't get to write the script, which I wish he could have at times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because the man's mind was amazing.
Shit, it probably would have brought it to whole new fucking heights if he did.
Well,
but they did give him some freedom.
You know, they both. That's why that they were. I think the films also were so good, is they both were going to go for it. You know, they both were going to push, this Van Helsing's coming at you. Well, Dracula ain't playing around. Let's go. And they went at it, like you said, for 3 films, you know, like a whole trilogy of films. And it just kept getting crazier. But Horror Dracula, yes, very much so. For the same reasons, too.
So dark.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then the epic, and I just don't know how they did it, but the epic moment when Peter Cushing jumps up off the table and pulls those curtains down.
Well,
and the epic scream of pain that I don't think any other person really kind of brought that across on screen other than Gary Oldman was Christopher Lee. You honestly felt like, oh man, he's feeling that shit, and his body's just turning into dust.
While he's alive.
First, while he was still
piece
alive.
By piece, yeah.
And then he had to finish him off with candlesticks in the sign of the cross.
Yeah, keep him in the sunlight. Yeah. Now, and that was the thing though with Cushing, those Van Helsing, is he would go there.
Yeah,
he would be that man of action and go and do what he had to do to put him down.
He was the one doing the action.
Oh, exactly.
There was no stunt double.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. They both went for it. No joke.
I mean,
hey, you got to respect that.
How many times did we see Christopher Lee driving the carriage? He was doing that shit.
Yeah, he was going too. He wasn't playing around. That's what I was saying. They did it for real. Most of the time, it wasn't, oh, let's get the stunt double. And, okay, chap, it's your turn.
Right.
Try to land on your bum. No, it was, real swords, real sword fighting. Yeah. Exactly.
No, I mean,
especially
all the
with
way,
Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
Yeah. And all the way down to the costuming, their unbelievable top secret blood formula.
Oh, yeah. Redder than red blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Technicolor blood.
It's amazing.
Yep. But like you're saying, it's a signature of Hammer horror.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
Yes.
Very much so. Very much so.
And Dustin agrees. Those Hammer films are iconic for a reason. The style and actors alone were fabulous. And the locations. Fucking hell.
Oh, shit.
Unbelievable.
They can't do better. I mean, come on. You're in London. You got England at your disposal. You have, I'm sure they went to Germany and different places.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All those old castles.
Exactly, yeah. So that doesn't surprise me in the least for that. Like at all.
Next on your list, good sir.
Okay. I'm going to kind of follow that one up with a dear friend of Mr. Christopher Lee, and that would be Vincent Price's The Last Man on Earth, 1964. Oh, I love that poster.
To me, it's just iconic as hell.
And that's part of it for me too, is it's another one of those films that you don't realize it's a vampire movie at first.
Nope.
And it's like, oh, it's a one-man show. And it's like with Vincent Price, it is a one-man show and it's worth watching.
I mean,
the only thing that gets me is you go from that film and we end up with I Am Legend.
Right.
That bothered me greatly. But comparative to how that film was, like you said, it's an iconic film by an iconic actor and an iconic story as well. And the way that Vincent was able to do it and the way he was able to convey what would happen if you really thought you were the last person on Earth, except for everybody's turned into these creatures. What would you do? It's like, what would happen to you? Would you lose your mind? I mean, socially, you'd start to get bugged if you were a people person. And you're not allowed to communicate with anybody.
Exactly. Uh-oh. I think we're slowly losing Deadfellow. I mean, in his crypt, I'm sure that it's, kind of hard to get Wi-Fi down there. But I mean, Vincent Price, one of the most prolific actors in the genre of horror. has brought us so many countless characters. And in this one, it's definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, very, very iconic in the vampire genre. So if you have not seen it, I know for a fact that there is a lot of Vincent Price films that are being shown right now, and they are for free on Amazon Prime and some of the other like free sites. So, man, if you can find this one, and I'm sure you can, check it out. So I'm going to move on to the next level. And as we're moving through the genres, the eras, my bad. The 70s we've covered. There's so much there. There's so much there that was good. But damn it, when we got to the 80s, they gave us probably one of the most iconic horror films featuring vampires, known as this piece of wonderful, beautifully dark carnage candy, and suddenly vampires became cool again. I'm talking about the Lost Boys. There's Mr. Deadfellow.
Connection is hell.
That's all right.
Underground.
I mean, it's hell getting Wi-Fi down in deep underground.
Provider.
But this was the film that anchored vampirism back into the light. Because people were like, okay, I've seen Dracula 1,000 times. No one was really doing any adaptations of it at the time. But the idea of let's make vampires cool, let's make them have a different look, and all the way around, kind of a different story. This was like one of the first times vampires got put into pop culture as something that looked like it could happen before the 90s really started to kind of take a hold and get a little bold with it and making it feel, like this could actually happen. I mean, Kiefer fucking Sutherland. Need I say more? Was there not a more devious, sarcastic leader of the pack, if you will? All of the vampire gang there in this film was, they were all just wonderful. Loved them. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. The casting on that alone.
Oh, my goodness, the wealth of talent. Corey Haim, shit.
Oh, yeah. Rest in peace.
And then, of course, exactly. And his older brother in it, which this was kind of the film that really gained him fame.
Yep.
It had great music. It had a pro wrestler playing the saxophone, and everybody loved it. And he was decked out in chains.
And spandex and baby oil. But he rocked it, and he still does it to this day. He still do it.
He does. And he's still ripped.
Oh, yeah. Probably a vampire.
For real. Absolutely.
Could be. But I agree on the plausibility.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, there was this became a cultural iconic film because it did so much different.
Well, it did tapped into the rock, the angst, the rebel, kind of the motorcycle group, those are the bad guys. You shouldn't hang out with them. Okay, I'm going to go hang out with them.
Yeah.
So, I had that attraction to the dark side kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And not to mention, you know, the Frog Brothers. These two brothers that own a comic book store, they know what's going on. And they try to tell the new kid in town that there's a problem. And the whole time he's like, right. No, we don't. I don't believe that. These are just comics. I don't read horror comics. And then suddenly, little by little, he starts to find out. And then no one suspected Max of being the granddaddy of the vampires.
That's smart. You know, you don't become a old vampire by being bold and brazen on, oh, look, I'm a vampire over here. You know, because it doesn't really matter to the stake. You know, so Max was smart about it. He hid and ran a video store on a boardwalk. So
right, and everybody loves a video store.
Exactly for that
Especially
time.
At that
exactly. Time. Yeah, it was perfect for it because you don't got to order takeout when it comes into your store. You get delivered in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Know? And then had his crew to go off and do his bidding.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so I like how they planned it out.
Yeah, I mean, just it was a fresh new script idea, and it worked in every sense of the imagination.
Yeah.
So, what do we have for him next?
Well, I have Near Dark 1987.
Ah, such an iconic group of actors.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And can we just say Lance Henriksen?
Yep.
Bill Paxton.
Yes. And may he rest in peace.
Yes. And you have the most badass Marine fighting alien right there. You had hardcore, really good character actors that really knew what they were doing, more than just character actors.
Yes.
But that really got into their characters.
Yes.
Where they were that group. They were that marauding group. And it was kind of like the aspect to the Lost Boys, to where it made it like how you would deal with it, how it actually affected a human body when you were bitten.
Yes.
Like, what were the stages of it? What did they have to do to protect themselves from things that could hurt them? And, you know, things that couldn't hurt them. And then also, of course, with Bill Paxton, you also get one of the first spur-wearing vampires.
Right.
And I just love that. Because, you know, it works. And the effects were amazing.
I mean, Lance Henriksen just commands, you know, badassery, you know, fall in line. Bill Paxton was more like the guy. He loved the carnage, you know, as far as his character was concerned. He just wanted to annihilate everything.
Well, that's the thing, exactly. Is it's like, but that's the whole thing. Is like, how do you deal with immortality? You get bored, and sometimes when you're vampires, I guess to that end, you got to let off some steam, and catch a bite while you're doing it. So they like to raise some hell, you know, and get their food on the run. But it also made sense to where they're not camped out in some castle or something like that. That wouldn't have made sense.
No, they were drifters.
They had to be nomads. Exactly. They had to be nomads and drifters, or it wouldn't have made sense. Because the cops would have eventually, there's too many bodies getting dropped. Somebody would have survived and literally described them to people. And then you got the cops after you and all that. So being nomadic, for me, was a beautiful aspect to the story that I really enjoyed.
Abso-fucking-lutely, man. Just a great, 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 great film. Great choice.
Thank you.
But, you know, we also happen to have one of the best, honest to goodness adaptations of Bram Stoker's Dracula to ever hit the silver screen. And unfortunately, the director, who is an iconic director, and somebody out in the attic section, please tell me if, since I can't get it, that he got it. He made everyone read the book. Everyone had to read the book. They had to know it inside and out.
Yep.
And
Francis Ford Coppola.
Thank you, Mr. Deadfellow, because I couldn't get it. We're talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula. Probably one of the most epic adaptations in film history that actually was kind of the first
to be faithful, yeah. Truly,
to be faithful to the book. And I don't know. He was the first to bring history together for the first time ever in a Dracula film, where it starts out him as, you know, the warlord of Wallachia, and you know, the whole tale of how, you know, his love was sent a note that he was dead in battle. All that shit was very factual. So
right, yeah.
I mean, the effects were over the top, and then of course, you know, Sir Anthony Hopkins as you know, Van Helsing was the best choice ever.
Oh yeah, because I mean, in the book, Van Helsing's kind of wild. He's kind of out there. A lot of people think he's kind of crazy and don't know if he's, you know, a madman, a genius, or what. So Anthony put all that together, I believe, in his performance. So you got the genius, the country folk doctor, you got the guy that's battled these things before. And he brought like a grit to the character too, you know, that you don't usually get with Van Helsing.
No, not at all.
You know, it's like, gosh.
I hate to say it, but the only weak character in the whole thing was Keanu Reeves.
I agree. I love Keanu. Don't get me wrong.
Me too.
But yeah, that film was not really one of the ones that really got me, and his English accent was less than to be desired.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Jonathan Harker really, in a lot of cases, to the story is kind of the forgotten character, because once Dracula gets to London, that's it.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game at that point.
Yeah, because then you don't even think about Jonathan, and she stops thinking about Jonathan as soon as she sees him. As soon as she sees the Count, she's done.
And have we ever seen a werewolf screwing Dear Lucy?
No, and not since that I'm aware of.
That was fucking iconic as fuck.
You know, and then him to be able to literally sit there and just look at Mina and do not see me. And couldn't see him, disappeared right in front of her eyes. It's like, because that's Dracula, man.
Yeah.
It's Count freaking Dracula. You know, and the bat creature as well. They went off. I mean, they completely went off on the movie. And then with Gary Oldman's performance on every level is just insane.
Absolutely.
And also, of course, we've got to say the line, "I've crossed oceans of time to find you." The whole reason he did the entire film.
He totally did.
The only reason, it's the only reason he agreed to do the film was so that he could say that line. And then gave one of the best ever accurate portrayals of at least Vlad the Impaler that I've ever seen. So, yeah, it was amazing.
Absolutely. What is your next pick, sir?
Well, let me see. I would have to go with Innocent Blood, 1992.
Ooh.
I love
Talk
this
about
movie.
a dark film.
Oh, I love this movie. Because in this film, you get the main actress, as you can see, is a vampire, and you basically get to see what she has to do for her dinner and ways that she has to go about making sure that she doesn't continue to make vampires every time she has a bite.
Right.
And she happens to bite a mob boss. And really interesting stuff ensues.
Yes.
Very much so. And she is also the original actress of La Femme Nikita. So that was her first from going from that set of films into her own film was Innocent Blood.
Absolutely. And this is an easy one to find, guys, if you haven't had a chance to see it. I haven't seen it in a long time, so...
Oh, the eyes on the vampires is one of my most favorite vampire eye effects I've ever seen. Because there's no set color that their eyes change when they turn. So they could look like a kaleidoscope of colors. Can be green, they can be glowing red, they could be purple and pink and all these other crazy colors. And it's really neat effect. You even get Don Rickles and Robert Loggia.
Yes.
Which you wouldn't expect for a vampire movie. And most of the cast of The Sopranos in parts.
Exactly.
But a great film. We don't have number ones, but it's up at the top for me there.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
You're doing just fine.
What's that?
I said, you're doing just fine.
Absolutely. We are going to take a quick commercial break to the great Johnny Necro and all of the awesome creations that him and Horror Adorables has in store. Check this out. Hell yeah. Definitely check out all Horror Adorables has to offer, and the great Necro Fiends comic book as well. And definitely follow him on all of those socials. So I think we have time for one more.
Well, see, I was thinking on this one for, I say both of us, we have to mention Fright Night. We have to.
Yes, we do.
It's Chris Sarandon, Roddy McDowell, iconic film, and Jerry Dandridge is one wicked vampire.
Yes.
I thought it was a great film. And what does the kid next door do when he knows that it's a vampire next door and nobody believes you? You know, it's like I loved that aspect of that film. There was much to it on that level, and the actors and up and coming actors that would lead into other work that they would do, such as Evil getting to go to, to 976 evil. Interesting enough, and then of course with Amanda, you have Marcy Darcy, from Married with Children.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Sarandon, I mean, come on. That's Prince Humperdinck to Jack Skellington to Jerry Dandridge. It's like, he's an amazing actor, and the effects, next level on every part of it, actually. I even like that they went more for a fruit bat design for him than they did a vampire bat, just to change stuff up.
Absolutely. The fact that a vampire moves in, next door, and you're just looking out your window and there's a coffin being brought in. Easily brought in, and you just don't know what to expect.
That's true. But it's like too, and it's always, the activity is always happening at night. And it's like he would just happen to keep noticing things. And that's just going to make your mind start going, and then it's like, it built up the suspense.
It does.
Like,
all the way around.
Yeah, exactly.
And they pull in, they pull in the horror host, Rodney McDowell, who is a horror host who's never hunted a vampire in his life. It is unfucking real.
That's got to be one of the top.
And then he finds his courage.
Vampire movies.
He finds his courage.
Yeah. See, and I can even say it wasn't, to me, as great as the first one, but even the sequel was fun too.
Yeah.
Not so much the remake, but the sequel. I enjoyed the sequel. Andy, the Wolfman from Monster Squad, as a Wolfman in that one too.
Oh, that dude was so good too.
Oh, he's great. I loved him. Yeah.
Oh, Monster Squad is a whole nother story. I mean, there wasn't a kid alive at that time that didn't love it.
Oh, and the Dracula wasn't no joke in that either. He did an amazing job in that. And he was Zorro.
Exactly. So, I mean, epic cast. You couldn't have asked for better. And yeah, I mean, it's iconic. Totally. Unfortunately, the remake did not stand the test of time.
They did at least have Chris Sarandon in it. Because they did.
I mean, we're talking about a world-class actor who brought power, sexiness.
No, he did. He did. He conveyed
he was fucking hilarious. The fact that he bursted out laughing when Rodney McDowell was like, back, spawn of Satan.
Exactly.
And he would just laugh, and this was all a joke to him and just a good time. I mean, I don't know anybody else that could have pulled it off.
No,
totally do not.
Yeah, no, he was meant to play Jerry. Yeah, he nailed that. And also, how can you make a vampire named Jerry badass?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Have Chris Sarandon play him. Problem solved. Because he was wicked. I mean, he was his own thing, but he definitely felt more than just your run-of-the-mill vampire. It's like he wasn't freshly turned. He had been doing this for centuries. He gave that vibe.
Exactly. All right. Well, I mean, I wish we had more time. And unfortunately, there's just so many amazing films that we could go over that we just I mean, we could go on for hours on this topic.
Oh, yeah. Easy. Easy.
But we appreciate you all so much out there in the Morgrot universe for joining us, on a Friday night at the start of Halloween weekend. But I guarantee it is not over. Don't forget tomorrow night, if you are ready to sin in epic fashion. Woo! It is time for the goddamn program, All Halloween Edition. So definitely tune in tomorrow night for that at 8 p.m. CST. Thank you, Mr. Deadfellow, as always, for joining me on this program. And anyone that missed it tonight, definitely catch the replay. But the most important thing is always stay heavy.
Thank you for joining us on Rebirth Underground. Stay tuned for more from Morgrot Entertainment in association with Black Flame Entertainment.